What is going on, everybody? This is episode 159 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's
Hi.
Mary.
How
We're
you doing
back
today?
Again. I'm tired, but pulling through.
We're gonna make it.
We are.
We're gonna get.
I
through
have
this.
faith in us.
Yesterday we were in a similar position where we were kind of like the energy was kind of off, and we worked through it through the
Yeah.
words of Chet Hanks.
Of course. I
Um,
wish that we had another motivational clip from Chet Hanks
I
today.
need one every day.
He's been posting a lot on his Instagram story, and I love it.
All in the gym too. All in the
I
gym.
love it.
It's
He's getting hyped up.
He's an inspiration for our generation.
he absolutely is, and that is our guest host today. Would you please introduce yourself?
I am Sour Patch Lids. I'm typically over on Timcast IRL. I have to say that I'm also a member of the Chet Hanks fan club. I think he's wonderful. I think he's the inspirational voice that our generation, whatever our generation is, needs.
Guidance,
He's the hero that we deserve.
That's right.
guidance, order. What was the third one? Guidance, order,
direction.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what
So
it is.
silly. I love it.
So on the orders of Chet Hanks, we are going to power on through today,
Yes.
And make today an
We
episode
gotta
worthy
stay
of
sober. We gotta get jacked.
That's right.
We just have
Those are
to.
the rules.
all of us. We are gonna push on in the honor of White Boy Summer. Even though Dane is not here, he is. Where is
What a
he?
shame. He's in his fatherland.
That's
That's
this
right.
week.
So
He's with us in spirit.
Back soon.
Lots of swearing in the spirit, honestly.
and
It's great,
posting
yeah.
funny pictures.
Yeah, of
too.
I'm
course.
sure
yeah.
when he's back, he will be reinvigorated.
It'll be
ready to
good,
go.
yeah. I'm
So
happy for him.
we had a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about Dave Chappelle angering critics again
Oh,
because that's
no.
what he does. Because him breathing tends to anger people. Because they dared give the dude an Emmy nomination for a special that did extremely, extremely well. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Disney has a bunch of stuff. They're going to be adding tiers to Disney Plus, which I find very interesting. On top of Steamboat Willie going into the public domain and a bunch of stuff involving religion, what people are calling religious persecution of the people who work at the theme park. So we got that, and then we've got some what I consider to be almost hilarious rumors for DC Entertainment right now for the upcoming movies. So if you ladies are ready, we'll just get right into it. Are we ready?
We are ready.
Are you ready?
I am.
All
I'm
right.
awake now.
All right. So it says Emmy rewards transphobia with nomination for Dave Chappelle's The Closer. Of course they did, right?
Nice
Because
headline.
It's
AV
always
Club.
confusing to me that they don't understand that their butt madness makes people want to support him more.
Right?
Reverse psychology is a thing, folks.
and it's every single time. In the language, there was a couple of parts of this article. It was almost more the way this article was written that made me want to cover it more than
Oh
the
yeah,
actual.
I mean the opener already floored me. Cancel culture is really not as effective as we were promised because Dave Chappelle continues to succeed on the strength of
Are they
virulent
saying
transphobia.
that as a bad thing? Like they wish he'd been canceled?
I mean, I know that a lot of people still practice cancel culture, but at least on the surface, you're generally supposed to say it's a bad thing,
yes.
not just openly be totally
working.
pro depersoning.
Right.
It's good when we do it, is what they're saying.
course.
Is what they're saying. So it says, so yes, like you said, I love that this is on the strength of virulent transphobia.
Oh my.
Could your hyperbole be any more? It was like 5 jokes in the whole special.
It's like the first sentence of the article.
They're rewarding transphobia.
His controversial Netflix special, The Closer, was nominated for an Emmy on Tuesday, once again proving that the woke mob hasn't done much damage to his career at all.
Good.
It is also interesting that they use the term woke mob at the AV. I tend to avoid AV Club articles a lot of the time because I want to roll. I usually
why.
I already had a migraine today. I didn't need another one from rolling my eyes so heavily.
Well, it's odd that they would pair woke mob and frame cancel culture as a positive
yeah.
force.
Don't like that.
But they did.
I guess they're proud of their pitchforks.
They love it. They probably have branded pitchforks with different flags on
yeah,
them.
Gucci.
So it says, Chappelle has been on the anti-trans beat for a while. It's something of a case du jour among wealthy celebs who apparently have nothing better to do. I will say that I do think that he's dangerously getting himself close to pigeonholing himself as like the anti-trans guy.
Yeah.
And
We've
he
talked
needs
about
to-
that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
He's like a Pierce Morgan in comedy that if you can only joke about one thing, it's not really pushing boundaries anymore.
But it's not that he's doing that. It's that that's what gets the press out of everything. Like, he posts a whole special, but the stuff that gets all the attention is those jokes because he dares make them.
Sure, but he
not the
plays
other
into
jokes.
that attention, and then calling himself Team Turf definitely plays into the
see a
fact that
problem
like
with
that's
this?
all the spotlight. I mean, that's just a strange comment on its own, because I didn't get the impression that Dave Chappelle is a radical feminist.
Nope.
No.
But like, also we need to realize that no one in real life even knows what turf is or means, and that's a good thing.
If you asked the average person out on the street what the hell a turf was, they would have no idea.
Yeah, and if you tried to explain it to them, then you would seem like an insane person, rightly so.
Yeah.
I was watching a video the other day from Zach from Comics Matter, and he talks about normies are finally starting to wake up to like what's going on in the world.
Are they?
It's like people went and saw Thor: Love and Thunder, and they're like, why was Korg's whole backstory like
Just-
retconned?
Yeah.
Why was that retconned? And he's talking about basically
Rock
the idea is like,
babies.
why is everything changing? Like, why is every commercial look a certain way? Why is it? And people are like, it's not that it's bad. It's just very noticeable and blatant. And regular people who just don't pay attention to this stuff are starting to notice it. He was talking about Harry's razors and Jeremy's razors and the competing razors markets that we now have, even though they're all coming from like the same factories. Like
Right.
you're now buying your razors on ideological lines, which is hilarious.
And dystopian.
So he says Netflix, which has a very expensive deal with Chappelle, and they just released a new special last week with no fanfare whatsoever. And I haven't gotten around to watching
really?
it yet.
What's
Yeah,
that
so
titled?
I don't know. It's like 40 minutes long. I haven't watched it yet, but they didn't really advertise it very heavily.
Huh.
It wasn't on the front page of Netflix or anything. So it says they have repeatedly and unreservedly defended his work under the guise of, and they put it in quotes here, creative and artistic
Scare
freedom.
quotes. Scare quotes.
In a previous statement, co-CEO Ted Sarandos expressed that the employees that, quote, sometimes there will be things on Netflix that you dislike that you even find to be harmful. First of all, that's bull. I'm sick of them calling people saying mean things harmful. Like, even in the context of what he's saying, it's annoying. It's
Well, even if it is, you have to weigh the risk of watching something that might upset you. That's all
voluntary.
entertainment.
Yeah.
But I am almost just as skeptical for different reasons that there is a facade of promoting creative freedom and artistic expression on Netflix. I don't believe that that's the case at all, but I think that they're invested in appearing that way.
So he says, where we'll definitely draw the line is on something that would intentionally call for physically harming other people or even remove protections. For me, intent to cause physical harm crosses the line for sure. The disregard for the real harm that platforming transphobia does to an extremely vulnerable population is paid off with Emmy nominations. I want to know what they mean by real harm.
Yeah, okay. I know exactly what they mean because this is what they do with so many other issues and so many other protected groups. Is in a way they kind of hold them hostage in order to boss people around.
Yes.
With their language and their beliefs and their actions. They're saying you are literally risking people's lives by making a joke like this.
And then you say, how am I risking their lives? And they can't really explain it. I guess the idea is like if Dave Chappelle tells a joke about somebody, whether it be white people, black people, trans people, gay people, that other people will hear that joke and then attack someone in the street because that's...
I'm no expert on it. I'm sure there are some statistics that back up that like trans people are the victim of violent crimes more often.
Yeah, so this is the inversion of words and violence. So you know how they started to say words are violence, and then in the summer of 2020 they started saying violence isn't violence. So now they can just say, well, this word is violence, but the actual violence that I'm committing against your business is not.
Because it's because you're repaying what was already done to you.
But it's reparations,
Yes.
right? But it's a classic inversion, and it's them saying this is for the cause, therefore it is good.
Yep. So it says they also say that he's faced no true consequences. When I very distinctly remember him getting attacked on stage, and they even dismissed this on here.
Literally,
They're
yeah.
like,
No true consequences except for having an
gun
attempt
knife.
made on your life.
Yeah, no big
A
deal.
literal harm on your person.
And I have no idea. And they're like, and they talk about here. They say no true consequences for his hurtful speech, though he has tried to make some up by baselessly accusing an onstage attacker of being a trans man. That's not baseless.
That wasn't
the
even
guy wasn't
a
trans.
serious accusation. No. He was making a joke about it because he wasn't fazed by being physically attacked, which is cool.
Good for him.
And what happened is that guy admitted later. He said that he found Chappelle's words triggering, and
the dude seemed like he was a bit of an obsessed stalker in a way.
Unstable,
like. He made a song that was titled after Dave Chappelle and
Woo!
admitted that, you know, he made up different reasons for why he did it, but ultimately it was an ideological attack.
So the most concrete example of violence here is it being done to him, which I guess that should be his right to be able to make jokes if he thinks, you know, maybe
Right.
Hollywood still needs to be hiring better security guards because they're clearly very bad at that.
Yeah.
But so the critics hate it, of course. It's got 40% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics, 95% from audience score. And it's the Emmy it's nominated for is like Best Variety Special and Best Directing in a Variety Special. So it's nominated for 2. And he has won before. He won in 2004 and 2005, I believe, for something similar. So then there's people are mad. All of the headlines from supposed publications that are like journalistic endeavors, I guess if you want to call them journalist sites or just if you want to call them trades, they all mention the word. So it says, Dave Chappelle getting Emmy noms for his transphobic special is just disgusting. Do better, TV Academy.
Do better.
Do better.
The problem I have is just that there are too many awards.
Yeah, that's the real problem here.
There are too many extremely niche awards, and
no one cares.
It's
no one
oversaturated.
watches it. Yeah.
They're the people actually physically attending the event are the only ones that actually care.
Emmys reward transphobia with nomination for Dave Chappelle as the closer. I would argue that the nomination is for what's literally called the variety special. They're criticizing one small part of a very large production, but they believe that because what they believe that you're criticizing is sacred, you shouldn't be allowed to do that or hold the whole thing in strong regard because one thing angered them.
Yeah.
It says Dave Chappelle's the closer, for which he was criticized once again for punching down, and I hate that language, on the LGBTQ community, is up for an outstanding variety special Emmy. I hate the concept of punching down because that means that they believe that it's okay to punch up, which means that they think it's okay to punch as long as it's who they believe deserves it.
The language of punching up versus punching down is talking about jokes, right?
Yeah.
Not literal violence.
But they're saying that you can make jokes, but there's rules and stringent things in place that say whether you can joke about this
you
group.
can't make any jokes about people who are placed under you in the totem pole.
On the progressive stack, you can only insult people who go above you.
Yeah, and that is ridiculous, but also it does it gets at some kernel of truth and then manipulates it, which is that in order for something to be funny, it does need to catch people off guard in some way.
Yeah.
And it's true that if you're expected to make a joke at a certain group's expense because you've pigeonholed yourself, then it's not very funny.
Yep.
So the punching up and punching down thing, it's another like small truth that they've twisted and like turned upside down to make their point about like power plus privilege.
I always hated the one thing that I used to love is when they used to do mean tweets on like
that was great.
It was great because
I like that.
It was allowed to like let celebrities be kind of put in their place in like a funny way that was not meant to be harmful, and they've kind of taken that like I got annoyed when celebrities would then like push back on some Joe Schmo on the internet. Like, you're a rich, famous person.
That is punching down.
That
actually is.
I didn't think it was funny, but I got why they pushed back. Because if you're a celebrity, look, you're not looking at it like, okay, I'm rich and famous and this person isn't. They just said something that upset you, and I get why they would do so. But I think that's where a lot of this comes from now. Celebrities want to also be able to punch down, but
they do, yeah.
But you're not allowed to if you're part of specific groups. It's also confusing.
And they have like different celebrities have gotten in trouble for like exposing someone who DM'd them something hateful, and it's like, you can't do that. They don't have any followers compared to you, and you're like inciting a mob against them.
Yep.
And like,
which if you're that person, you have to understand that if you're going to take the time to say something snide to a celebrity, just understand that there is personal responsibility there. If they push back on you, you kind of got yourself into that mess. But I don't think that the other person should be doing it either. I think it's stupid.
yeah, and I do think celebrities have it maybe more in the forefront of their mind that there's a status difference than you assume. Like, that is their entire identity. That they believe that they're deserving of a superior status than the rest of society.
So we've also got, if Dave Chappelle wasn't enough, we've got the Emmy. They literally do what's called an Emmy Diversity report.
Oh my gosh!
Where they talk about
Great.
What's interesting about this is that they don't talk about the talent of the people. They just talk about what they look like.
Well, this is from the controversy of Oscars So White. They had to respond. All of the award shows had to respond.
Yes.
Not just that.
Yep.
One.
And they have it right down to the number, and they do this. I don't know if it's USC or one of the major universities does a Hollywood diversity report every year where they break down the demographics of every show that's literally produced in Hollywood, and then show it around racial, sexual, ethnic lines, which I think is actually really interesting. But it's the conclusions that they jump to. In a majority in a country that's like nobody's looking at stuff produced in Africa and then talking about the diversity of like
or China.
Do you remember when they did at the Olympics when they had the Italian soccer team and they're like, why is the Italian soccer team so not diverse?
Remember that?
It's like
like they're Italians. Shocking, I know, but it turns out they're probably gonna be white.
So it says after performers of color notched a record 49 acting and reality hosting primetime Emmy nominations in 2021, the count this year has declined to 31, repping a 37% drop. Still, this year's figure is higher than 2019, where there was only 26 non-Caucasian actors and reality hosts. 3 Emmy categories were completely devoid of nominees from a diverse background: lead actress in a limited and anthology series, supporting actor in a limited and anthology series, and guest actress in a comedy series. There's a really great joke here about women not being funny, but I'm not going to make that joke. I'm not going to do it.
Wait, please do.
No.
It's probably
That's the joke.
funnier than them,
I'm kidding. The TV Academy also came up short in recognizing Latino and Hispanic performers.
No.
Now, this is what's weird. Recognizing. They're not asking you to recognize what you shouldn't be looking to recognize what they look like. You should be looking to recognize the work they did. What they look like should be secondary because it's not your most interesting characteristic.
This is participation prize culture. This is it.
Yep.
You're black. You're in a movie. Oh my gosh, you get a prize. That's not all there is to it. It's a problem.
Oscar Isaac is fantastic. So like and all the names that are mentioned were like for the top half were ones that I recognize, like Sandra Oh. Zendaya just set a record for being the youngest 2-time nominated Emmy nominated actress. Which is like I always make jokes about the idea of like the fake milestones,
like
like
identity marker
milestones. Like,
sure.
First person of this to be nominated on the 3rd Wednesday of this month during the summer solstice. I hate stuff like that.
Well, the one you just listed about Zendaya, I still feel like we're grasping at straws to make a milestone out of that.
It's
not exactly a landmark event that she's been nominated twice.
But for her age, I guess the idea that they didn't have to make it about a bunch of identity characteristics and just her age, I thought that was at least more normal. So it says Sandra Oh for lead actress in a drama series for Killing Eve, Zendaya for Euphoria, Quinta Brunson, I don't know. Obviously, I know Donald Glover. Oscar Isaac for lead actor in a limited and anthology series. Like, there's a lot of really good actors on there, but the focus is in the wrong place.
Right.
The focus is nobody's talking about their performances. They're talking about what they look like.
Yeah.
And like what a disservice to the ones who are nominated.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
To Oscar Isaac, to Zendaya, to Sandra Oh, who got there on their own merit because they're extremely gifted and talented actors. And it becomes about something so much less important than that. And that bothers me. But what I thought was interesting was also not Sandra Oh, but Anthony Anderson made it like a funny comment because like one of the things when you look through all these articles, you see all the stuff about snubs. Who got Yellowstone didn't get any nominations this year. Anthony Anderson did what I think you should do in these cases, and he made a joke. He's just like, they're like, you weren't nominated for the final season of Blackish, and he's like, well, I'm not saying they're stupid, but they're racist. But he was kidding. He was joking, and that's what you should do. You should make a joke out of it because he's saying it as a joke. They're saying it.
But it's interesting because if he had said that in a serious tone, then people would definitely evaluate it like seriously and think, maybe they are racist for that. but with what you were saying about how they're only considering the least important factors of who they are, not the merits of their acting, and like Lydia, what you were saying, that it's like participation award culture. A lot of people would say that this is patronizing and debasing to the actors.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if the actors have the same problem with it, because actors just want to be celebrated for anything, no matter what the circumstance. They don't care why. They don't care if they deserve it. In fact, their first assumption is that they always deserve a celebration.
Yeah, they're actors.
We're the ones complaining about it, but I don't think they care.
Yeah. Also, it is funny to note that the Oscars got nominated for an Emmy this year, not for the slap.
What?
Yes.
What does this mean?
I do think it's funny that the Oscars can be nominated for an Emmy.
That's awardception. What
I
the
thought
heck
that
is that?
Emmys were only for like a series.
No, like Dave Chappelle's variety special. So this is up there for the nod for best variety special. So it's in the same category as Dave Chappelle. So who wins this year? Dave Chappelle for insulting trans people, or Will Smith for slapping the crap out of Chris Rock?
If they want people to care about award shows again, then this needs to be the
Needs to be a
sleazy
trend.
material that we cover.
What they should do is just have celebrity boxing like Jake Paul on every single
I've been
award
saying.
show. Just right in the middle.
Down.
Just who do you want to see? Idris Elba takes on
Mosh pit.
Henry Cavill to play James Bond, and then they fight.
Oh,
to the,
for casting direction.
Do it.
Yeah,
Do
I
it.
like that.
I like that.
But
idea.
celebrity, like mainstream celebrities, would never do that as easily as influencers do, because I don't know, influencers are still kind of seen as more like scrappy, and that's why Logan Paul does what he does.
And he's making a lot of money doing that, so he's the smart one out of all of them. We did have an article we were originally going to cover this week that was basically talking about how influencers are starting to like rethink Hollywood, which a lot of them want to make that natural transition into Hollywood, and some of them are rethinking that notion now.
Don't do that.
Because Hollywood's almost like looking to. It's like when YouTube dumped a bunch of money into mainstream news. And it's like, why would you do that? You have the infrastructure in your own creators.
That blew my mind. The adpocalypse thing was so strange to me, because the argument was that advertisers deserve to pick and choose where they're advertised on YouTube. But because a YouTube video could be someone else's advertisement or their own representation of their brand or company, shouldn't they get to decide who advertises on their video as well?
You'd think
it's two-sided.
When you guys were doing right after Roe v. Wade, there was a Planned Parenthood ad on Timcast.
So good.
That was
Seamus was
like,
holding
that's
up
a
the
company.
cake. Yeah.
Timcast is a company
Right.
and a brand that represents itself on YouTube.
Yep.
A YouTube channel is a business, so why can't they decide who advertises on
That's a
their
good point.
business? It's like,
You should ask Tim.
yeah,
Great
it's
question.
it's soliciting.
Yep.
It's not legal.
all right.
It pisses me off.
There was one super chat there. It just says shotgun from
Shotgun.
from Dizwiz.
Oh, thank you.
Trying to shoot dollars
Why
at
is it a
us.
question though?
I don't know. Why is it a question, Dizwiz? We
What
need
the
to know.
heck? Yeah.
All right, so I want to move on. We're going to talk about there's a bunch of Disney news that I thought was really interesting. The first being I had a conversation. By the way, this is the 1 year anniversary of my employment here.
Isn't that
1 year?
special? We should get you a cake.
That would have been good.
Come on,
And then we
guys.
could sing to you because you hate attention.
Let's
it's
let's
perfect.
not do that.
You're like,
let's
let's
It's
not
like your birthday all over
Yeah,
again.
let's do
I
it.
literally had to like make Mary not give me a cake or
was
sing to me.
So hard for me
Yeah,
that
it's
we didn't do
disappointing,
anything
yeah.
for me for your birthday.
Sad.
It made me very sad. So
Sad.
we're having some trouble with the super chats right now.
Oh
There
no,
we
what's
go.
going on?
There we
Oh,
go.
something wrong?
snap.
It
There
didn't
was
go off?
didn't go off the second time. So
Oh,
all right,
that's
we're gonna
weird.
move on. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff from Disney. So it says Mickey Mouse safe with Disney for now as early version enters public domain. And the reason I brought this up is because I had the conversation with someone like about a year ago when we were talking about Disney and Mickey entering the public domain.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was curious as to why the old version of Mickey, like Steamboat Willie Mickey, is a different intellectual property when it looks almost
That's a good
exactly the
question.
same.
I thought they were the same.
They do all sorts of different illustrations of Mickey that why is one
think
delineated
when Walt
from the
Disney
other.
first drew mice, he drew a mouse named Mortimer, and that might have been the mouse that was on the steamboat. That might have been why it's different. I think it just had a
Oh.
different name. Not sure though.
What I
No,
am
fact
hoping
check me
for that will come from the old Mickey Mouse going into public domain is a Blood and Honey esque comedy horror, like dark comedy
Death Mickey.
slasher
Mickey, yeah.
film.
The-
It doesn't have to be a slasher, but I just
Make it
think
a
it would be
slasher.
fun. I need like good a good holler on a Halloween. You know.
Good. So it says reports that Disney was on the verge of losing the rights to Mickey Mouse emerged last week. While an early version of Mickey Mouse will move to the public domain in 2024, the current version of the beloved character will continue to be protected. According to U.S. copyright law, the copyright on an anonymous or pseudo-anonymous body of artistic work expires after 95 years from the year it was first created. The iconic character has come to define the entire Disney brand, made its first appearance as the title character in 1928 Steamboat Willie, which will lapse into the public domain on January 1st, 2024, 95 years after its release. Hard to believe.
That's crazy.
The possibilities are endless with this.
What would you like to see? Like if you could mash up two genres together, I'd say make a spy horror movie.
Spy horror.
Spy horror.
Yeah.
Of Mickey Mouse.
Is that a genre?
No, it's not.
It should
I'm
be.
making it a
It
genre.
will
should
be.
Let's go.
I'm thinking like mixing live action
And
with
cartoons. Oh,
like
that's always fun.
the Chippendale Rescue Rangers film could be done like outside of the Disney property.
Yep.
Or like some Roger Rabbit type of project.
So it says, however, Steamboat Willie. So now I had never that was a term I had never heard until 2010. I had no idea what Steamboat Willie was until somebody brought it up to
Everyone
me.
knows what it is.
You've seen the GIF.
Everyone's
for sure.
seen
Yeah.
it, right?
So
I
it
don't
says
know what it is,
he
but-
will be entering the public domain. Disney will no longer be able to prevent other artists and companies from using the likeness of the characters as they appeared in the short, as the images of the short film will enter public domain to be free for other people to use. And they are Disney, like Marvel, are very, very protective of their copyrights. I don't know if you guys remember the story about Disney, a father whose son had passed away who loved Spider-Man. And he put Spider-Man. He had Spider-Man etched onto his gravestone, and Disney hit him with a lawsuit and had him.
So
and wouldn't-
bullish.
Isn't that evil?
Unbelievable.
Like, imagine thinking that the bad publicity from that isn't just enough to.
Right. Yeah. That's stuff like that reminds you how soulless these conglomerates are, and the story of them sending that, little gift basket to Johnny Depp being like, oops, sorry that we defamed you and threw you in the trash because of a lie.
Want to work together again?
yeah.
Just work for us again. We'll give you $1 million over what you said you wouldn't take.
So that you can buy alpacas. Was it
Yeah.
alpacas? Yeah.
It was like 1 million alpacas.
So it says Steamboat Willie, which was the first ever cartoon with synchronized sound, was a pioneering feat for modern animation when it was released. But Mickey's appearance in the short is different from the one we know today. However, the more modern version of Mickey Mouse will not enter the public domain, a lawyer confirmed. And Disney has spent a fortune keeping these things out of, like I said, they spend a fortune on their copyrights and making sure that their intellectual property is very, very heavily guarded.
Well, will the current Mickey Mouse ever enter public domain? I thought that was built into how it works.
It says Mickey Mouse, as we know him in color with gloves and shoes, will not enter the public domain, says lawyer Mark Jonas. Mark Jonas Block told Newsweek. Later, including current designs of Mickey Mouse, will still be copyrighted under the term's end. So I'm guessing farther down the line from whenever those were first created. Maybe that's why they they change it every few years to prevent it from
I think
that
so.
happening.
Yeah, that's kind of what I came up with when I saw him changing it.
That makes
I better
sense.
know whether they're doing this.
Yep. It says as such, the derivative uses of Steamboat Willie version of the character may be used by others. Mickey Mouse will remain the property of Disney for the foreseeable future. So I think spy horror. Mickey the spy goes around and has to take out bad guys in a very gruesome fashion. I am here for it.
I like
Okay,
that.
so what you said about why they change him every few years, make
There
a
it
new
goes.
iteration
Oh my
of him. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you think that's because of the copyright system?
To prevent,
I thought honestly, I just thought that was because people's tastes change.
Yeah, I mean that too, but it probably
And-
plays into it.
Wait, is that why
I am not a copyright
logos for companies change over time, or is
don't
that
know.
still just marketing?
That I don't know.
Where's Rakeda Law when you need her?
Right, seriously.
I wish I knew these
Yeah,
things.
let's talk about it.
So it says meanwhile, Daniel Maeda of the UCL School of Law told The Guardian, "You can use the Mickey Mouse character as it was originally created to create your own Mickey Mouse stories or stories with this character, but if you do so in a way that people will think of Disney, which is kind of likely because they've been investing in the character for so long, then in theory Disney could say you violated my trademark."
There's their out.
If I see Steamboat Willie, I think of Disney.
Yep, and that's so that's their out for it.
Nice.
So
That's
we don't
kind
just
of
have that.
ridiculous.
Disney's also going to be adding an ad tier to Disney Plus, which is hilarious because it's already like the cheapest streaming service. It's like $7.99 or something
Joining
like that.
Netflix there.
So basically the idea here is they're finding a way to do targeted advertisement. It says Disney advertising has a bold vision backed by proven results from the start, and we're thrilled to continue to deliver on our commitment to power greater automation and addressability for our customers through this expanded deal with the Trade Desk, says Rita Ferrero, president of advertising sales for Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution. The Trade Desk develops advertising automation tools and manages an ad network that couples online publishers with brands, automation allowing Disney to sell more ads at scale and accelerate the company's goal to target more of its overall pool of first-party data. Excuse me. Disney has previously said that it wants to automate 50% of its business by 2026. Last year's upfront advertising sales event, over 40% of the ad inventory that Disney sold was automated. The integration with Trade Desk is likely to captivate many brands that are shifting away from content-focused strategies and moving towards an audience-first method. For instance, advertisers that want to target moms can do so with Disney's family segment. So yeah, you can go to certain parts. So
interesting.
I imagine that we're going to see in the next couple of years, most of these streaming services will have ad tiers with them.
Yeah, because this is recession era entertainment.
Freevee is already doing very, very. I get a lot of ads for Freevee.
Yeah, the Amazon TV thing.
Yeah, so
I just saw that.
Oddly enough, I get a lot of ads for Freevee and Tubi, which I don't use, but they're spending a lot of money to push people into their content, right? So on top of that, we have. Do you want to talk about Disney and religion? We're gonna do it.
I mean, we're going to anyway.
We're gonna do it anyway. So this
I'm
is.
just worried.
It's fine.
Should be fine. Yeah.
So basically, what happened was during the pandemic, Disney was having trouble with we won't call them. What do we call them? Shots.
Enforcing shot requirements on employees.
Yeah.
So it says Disney stock price continues to drop after numerous public scandals and disappointing returns at the box office. Disney theme parks are back in the spotlight as more former employees are suing the company for violating their civil rights. 3 former employees have sued the Walt Disney Company after claiming that they were fired for refusing to wear face masks and get the COVID-19 vaccine due to religious reasons. And I thought that was the most interesting because I don't know, is there like an aspect of that
there's always options to apply for an exemption for the shot, but although I'm sympathetic to them, I don't understand the religious argument about the mask.
That's what I wanted to ask you. I don't understand what is that kind of just like a workaround that they're trying to.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say that because I am totally sympathetic to them, especially think about working outdoors at a theme park like that in the summer. Like that would be really hard.
That'd be more of a health issue than a religion thing, though. I can't imagine religion affecting mask wearing. That's very strange.
Basically, Florida said like you can't force people to get the shot, and then Disney added augmented protocols, which basically made it miserable for people to work there if they didn't get the shot, which is really ghoulish.
Like extremely frequent testing.
Yeah. It says the lawsuit claims that Disney's augmented protocols that were forced on non-vaccinated employees consisted of harsh isolation and restrictions that caused serious breathing and made it nearly impossible to find a compliant manner and location in which to eat or drink while on shift. So it's just bullying.
Yeah.
It's bullying.
It is because it's trying to get you to quit instead of firing you,
yeah.
so they can't, give you
That's clever.
unemployment.
From the happiest place on earth.
Yeah.
They're the worst.
They stink. Yeah, they're not great.
It's
I never really even liked the expectation that you apply for a religious exemption to it when like your reason for not wanting this medical treatment doesn't need to have a religious grounds.
Yeah.
That's
Say no.
Just as valid
Yeah.
that you don't want it for no reason at all.
and it wasn't just them. There was like employees for ESPN, which is a subsidiary of
Right.
Disney, who one of their reporters, it says Disney enforced the policies, blah, blah, blah. It says Allison Williams quit last year due to the cable sports network's requirements. Williams said that she refused to take that because she was going to get pregnant again and was just worried about what was going to happen if she got it, if getting pregnant again. She announced that she was leaving the network because of her her request for accommodation was denied by Disney and ESPN executives.
Yeah.
So it's the usual, right? It's these companies. It's a company the size of Disney. Bullying the employees into doing what they want.
It's just like the incompetence we were talking about from Marvel Studios yesterday.
Yep.
They have all of the resources and people that they could possibly need to make things safe and comfortable for their workers, and they don't, because they don't care.
On one hand, I am one of those people that's always like, look, I don't expect corporations to act like people. Their job is to make money. I've always been kind of hesitant to be the person who's like, why isn't this company acting like a decent person? They're not people. Their job is to make money.
Yeah, and they are trying to accommodate thousands of people, and I'm sure some of their own employees are uncomfortable with working with, people who haven't had the shot.
Does this feel like a before and after shit? Like, it feels like so long ago now to me. Like, maybe it just feels like so much time has passed. Like,
even like a whole year ago, I was done with this whole debate.
Me too,
like, the whole conversation is just a fatigue, and I think that's intentional because compliance comes like after you've lost the will to keep arguing.
Yeah. So it's like, to me, it's like, do you feel like we're moving in a better direction? Like, I still see when we go out, it just seems like I don't see a lot of it. But
no, people aren't wearing masks a lot, and I have to say that the people who want to wear masks should be perfectly free to do so, as long as the people who don't want to wear masks are not required to do so.
And I'm not seeing people complain. Like, I don't go places and have people like complain to me about not wearing one or anything like that.
I keep seeing this on Twitter as these celebrities talking about how I am so holy because I was the only person on the plane wearing the mask, and I'm like, you need
Is that
to
actually
get
true?
a hobby. Yes, get a hobby, because this isn't even interesting to most people anymore. This to me just sounds like a war of attrition. I saw that California is trying to bring the masks back again.
Yeah, no, they did we were going to do a segment on that, and it ended up getting bumped. The film and television industry reinstituted it recently for indoor filming of movies and television shows. So that's not even entirely off the table there. And there's too much money to be made in the protocols.
This pressure is going to restructure that entire industry. Any industry that tries to stick with strict masking is going to end up pushing sane people out and keeping all the crazies. Kind of like we saw with policing when in 2020 they were trying to enforce all these unconstitutional rules about COVID, and everyone who had any shred of common sense was like, I'm out. This doesn't make sense. Goodbye. And then you see like what we had in Uvalde, but I digress because that's current event stuff. Current event stuff.
Super chats.
Unavailable ID name said, bring back Celebrity Deathmatch from OG MTV, but real life, and maybe not the death. I don't think it would be legal.
I don't know if is Mary too young to know what Celebrity Deathmatch is? Mary might be too young to know what Celebrity Deathmatch is. Imagine, do you know what claymation is?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Claymation celebrities fighting to the death.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's fun.
Sounds great.
I like that.
We'll watch. It's got to be. It's got to be online. Who owns MTV? I don't know who owns MTV.
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
We might have to like find an episode online and watch it. I remember the Stone Cold Steve Austin episode being great.
MTV has been going downhill for a while.
Like 30 years?
Every year there's like it's like happy 40th anniversary to MTV. Thanks for the 15 years of music.
Right, honestly.
Pat Ab said I gave her a good old fashioned Steamboat Willie.
Oh my God.
If you guys haven't seen that, Steamboat Willie, it's adorable. It's very cute. You should check it out.
Bro Cody said Mickey Mouse, but as a vulgar, coked out 1920s Capone style gangster, Tommy Guns. And
yes,
yes,
I like
kind of like
this.
South Park did with him.
I like this a lot.
Yeah, he's a little terrorist.
I'm down for that one. So we've got some good. I think we can't use that now because technically he's presented it to us. We could get
Can
copyrighted.
they just remake Goodfellas but with Steamboat Willie?
All the characters are Steamboat Willie. That'd be great. All right, we're going to move on. We're talking about DC rumors, and both of these are very, very, very good, guys. The first one here says, this is just the description of what they're saying that the Joker movie could be about.
It's a lot. Like, I almost am feeling like I don't want to watch this movie.
That's interesting.
But it's kind of like the musical part's kind of like what I described what I thought it would be when they announced that Lady Gaga.
It's like a dark comedy aspect where they're like they're doing a musical number while blood is flying everywhere.
That's great.
Exactly. So it says
like
Joker 2 rumors include R-word scenes, decapitations, and torture. I don't know if I
Wow.
can say the R word there. So it says a batch of Joker 2 plot rumors have hit the net, which comes off pretty wild as it claims that the sequel features R-word scenes. You guys know that word. It rhymes with grape.
Grape scenes.
Grape soda.
Yes.
Decapitation and torture scenes, and is described as 50 times more violent than any other mainstream comic book movie we've ever seen.
Gosh.
The
No,
rumors-
thank you.
The rumors come from the site World of Real, which admits that they are not sure how much of the following claims are true, but states that the info comes from a previous source that had given them accurate information before. So it says the first Joker movie did see Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix push the boundaries big time. I wouldn't go that far. I don't think
Yeah.
it was as bad as people made it out
I guess
to
they did
be.
shoot that one guy.
Did-
That was pretty much it, though, right?
The guys
That's
in the
not
subway.
even very graphic.
No,
Right.
it wasn't. It's
That was like a blood splatter.
it was just kind of shocking to see it done that way. Which
And
made it-
everyone knew that scene was gonna happen if you had been looking at anything on social media beforehand.
Spoiler alerts.
So it says, but the below description is not even close to a comparison as it goes further than anything seen in most flicks, let alone comic book movies. It is known that WB initially didn't want to make the Todd Phillips Joker movie. That's true. They did not want to make it at all. But then they made $1 billion, which of course means that
Smart.
You gotta do it again
have
and
to-
again and again and
Till
again
it's
and
dead.
again
you
Yeah.
just keep doing it again.
until you break even on the last sequel.
Seriously.
That's really how it is too, right? Like just
Like-
downward trend. So it
There's
says
nothing left in the piggy bank.
Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck escapes prison and goes on a killing rampage
Oh my
before
gosh.
meeting the character played by Lady Gaga, who is extremely deranged as well, but said to be in her own way. I was hoping that what they would do is, if they're saying that she's not playing Harley Quinn, I was hoping she would be like his prison doctor.
You could at least reflect what the original plot would be.
You could call her Harleen Q.
That would work.
It says,
Quinzel,
it
right?
yeah, it's Quinzel. So it says it claimed that the Joker and Lady Gaga character's relationship is not a straightforward romance, but said to be more of a Tom and Jerry type of situation.
Oh
I
my
love
gosh.
this already.
Funny.
The script is said to have a body count through the roof, and that the deaths are extremely gruesome.
It's gonna be slapstick, but bloody and death.
Oh my gosh.
Like
I love it.
that's
I love it.
Sounds interesting.
it has potential for sure.
Add Mickey Mouse in there for
Yeah,
the hell of
throw
it.
it
Put
in.
Steamboat Willie
there you
in
go.
the.
Oh my God! What if they did that?
That'd be
movie?
so great.
Like as a way, like we're never selling to Disney, so they kill Steamboat Willie in the movie.
Oh my gosh.
As the film is said to be a musical, it is said to not expect something like La La Land or A Star is Born. An example given as the musical parts is something like Singing in the Rain R-word scene from A Clockwork Orange.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yikes.
It claims that the musical scenes in Joker 2 will make all traditional fans of the musical genre walk out of the theater. I don't know if they want to do that. Like,
Well, as we were saying yesterday again, the only thing they need you to do is buy the ticket. They
Yeah.
don't care about watch time,
Yeah.
which does bother me. But I think it would also inflate their egos if they could offend people.
so okay, so would you do you draw the line at like R-word scenes? Like I said, the Joker killing a bunch of people doesn't bother me. The idea. Thank you.
Ooh, thank you.
The idea that they add more like the other stuff feels like it would be for shock value alone and not really because it adds to the script.
So
Yeah.
Andrew Klavan talks all the time about how you can tell a culture is dying based on their art, and I think this is a perfect example because it seems very much like they're out of ideas and they're just going with shock content, which I hate to see.
And to be fair, this is a rumor. We don't know
Right.
if this is
If
true.
this is true, they're just going with the shock, which wouldn't surprise me because I do think that we're kind of shell.
And oftentimes they're done this way and then cut down in post-production to be far less gory and bloody.
Right.
Like Wes Craven used to do with his horror movies, where he would make a much more visceral and violent cut to show the MPAA, so that way the one he actually wanted to be the
It's a
final
big
cut.
ask.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
basically the horror movie equivalent of the Big Ask, where
Yeah.
he leaves it and then he can take out and make the movie he wants, and that one doesn't get censored.
Yeah, and people are
So-
saying like Sweeney Todd, which I think that would be maybe a similar comparison, but with more, grape juice.
So we'll see
Yikes.
where that goes. And then beyond this one, which I thought this was interesting, I like this one even more, which is that they want Elliot Page to play the
You-
Flash.
You want this in the
Amazing.
future?
Okay.
I love it.
put it this way.
Why are you guys leaning in?
If we have to,
let's go.
If we have to do this, right?
Let's go all the way.
And we have to, and they're gonna have to make the Flash just kind of like a lame side character played by somebody that is kind of banking on their identity. Elliot Page is far less like of a liability to Warner Brothers. Virtue signaling, sure. Annoying, sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Grooming kids, no. That's
Yep,
good.
yep,
we got that. She's got.
We
he's
hope.
Got that.
We
he's got that
certainly
going for him.
hope so.
We hope, yeah. So I think they could actually pull it off with Elliot Page. Do I think they will? No. Do I want that? No. I would like to see like just about anyone but them play them. But it is
now I'm
funny.
just imagining a scene of Elliot Page hanging from the rafters on those fishing lines,
Doing the stupid run.
doing the run midair.
Oh my God.
If you guys haven't look at the
So bad.
There's everyone made fun of the way that he runs in the in the Justice League movie. Watch the behind the scenes thing of him doing it. You understand why it looks so ridiculous. It's literally him on like wires in a green screen room trying to run and just looking completely ridiculous. So it says someone might be in the conversation to replace Ezra Miller in the role of the Flash, even though Warner Brothers Discovery has made it perfectly clear through their inaction that they are sticking with the powder keg of an actor. And to be fair, it's been like a week since we've had an Ezra Miller incident.
It's true.
There was a point where I wanted to put a sign behind us that said it's been X many days since the last
Didn't
Ezra
they say
Miller.
he's trying to heal and is in therapy or some vague allusion to that?
Good for him.
I don't know if that's true,
Good
but
for
like,
Ezra.
where is Tokata Iron Eyes?
Yeah.
That's my first question. Where is he, and have the papers been served
Yeah,
on both
seriously.
protective orders?
We never found out
And
if they reached him.
Has the father in Hawaii gotten custody of his children back from the single mother who is being sheltered at his farm in Vermont?
Seriously.
I would like to know.
So it says an insider who has the ear of geekosity tells the site that although no discussions with Page have begun, the trans actor is someone Warner Brothers Discovery would look at for the role. However, this is only once the Flash movie has been released and done whatever kind of business it can. So the idea is that they'll let Ezra finish. He'll finish that first movie, and then they can use the Flashpoint paradox or any number of storylines to replace them. Like I said, in a world of ridiculousness, it's like one of the least ridiculous ways they could go about doing
I think it's a
this.
perfect crossover between the Elliot Page story insanity and the freaking Ezra Miller insanity. And I do have to say, in passing, there's an article that came out yesterday about the mounting accusations against him, and he's throwing around terms like transphobe and Nazi. To me, he's just starting to sound like a social justice warrior. So I'm really hoping that, his employer is really just enjoying working with him, because this is what the future is going to be like.
He sounds like a bully.
He does.
Cry bully.
Yeah, cry bully.
Cry bully.
Yep.
The language of that was always what always struck me as particularly evil
Transphobic.
about like
Please.
acting badly and then using your identity as a way of shielding yourself from criticism, or even like when he was getting searched by the cop and he said, "I want a female police officer to search me," knowing that he's had consensual relationships with women. That makes that
Which,
creepy.
at the very least, Elliot Page has not been, found out of doing anything similar to that. But why? Why
no
does the
problem with-
person casted as the Flash have to have some kind of unique androgynous look that is actually not visually interesting?
Yeah.
Elliot
seriously.
Page at most is just kind of annoying with the virtue signaling and complaining.
I mean, not kind of, like very
Very
but
much so, yeah.
I'm being charitable.
At
Yeah.
least we don't have record of any physical assaults, grooming.
No women have had chairs thrown at them by Elliot
illegal
Page.
business dealings.
That's right.
No loose firearms left
Kidnapping,
around
yeah.
kids.
No drugs that we know of.
No cult-like behavior
Yep,
or
yep.
whatever they're talking about.
Yes.
So
Yep.
Never rule out the possibility.
That's true. Notwithstanding their pronouns, they haven't done anything really that
The
wrong.
chances of
Nothing
the
against
new
Miller.
Flash actor being a criminal are slim, but never zero.
but
It
never,
turns out.
But never zero. So it says, but according to leaks from the test screenings, he also plays a third Barry Allen who is ultimately evil, responsible for messing up the multiverse. Reshoots would cover 3 parts portrayed by Miller, who's in almost every scene, which is why they cannot replace him in the movie. But afterwards, you had, the world is your oyster. You can run through a bunch of Barry Allens. I know why they didn't use Grant Gustin, because Grant Gustin isn't on the star level of these people. But I don't think Elliot Page. It's not who I would cast. It's not who I would cast.
Yeah.
Who would you cast?
I don't. That's a very good question. I would have had to prepare that But I would like to know in the chat who they would cast.
Also, I want to know, like, if you had a button on one side of you and another button, and like one button means they're not going to release the movie, and the other means they're going to release the movie with Ezra Miller in it. Like, which button do you press?
Don't release it.
Don't release it. 100%.
Don't release it.
I press release it because I like chaos.
Yep. Okay.
And but it depends on if the contract means that Ezra gets a cut of the profits. Yep. I know that a ton of people are going to see it just because of the controversy. That includes me.
Likely a percentage. There you go.
It does excite me for summer 2023. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'm a bad person.
Well, think about that. We've got that. We've got Aquaman 2 to review with Amber Heard. So maybe
keep it coming.
Just take Ezra Miller and Amber Heard and make a buddy cop comedy through Warner Brothers. It's all Warner Brothers properties.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
They could do that. So it says,
they're doing great over there.
Think about that. Right, like for all the problems that Disney has, like what we were talking about yesterday, that for the most part their actors stay kind of
sane,
out of trouble,
reasonable.
right? Like I'm trying to think
in
of
comparison,
they're not hiring people that are like getting arrested every few days. Like imagine being David Zaslav taking over Warner Media and having to like deal with this every day. There's no good way to handle it.
It's like the guy in whatever that show is who comes back with the pizza and everything's on fire. Like he opens the door and there's just like 18 fires all around him. He's just standing there.
It's like hiring Elliot Page would be a good way to like change the course of the discussion.
But also, Elliot Page is in Umbrella Academy, which I thought the whole appeal of that is that it's not Marvel, right? That it's like the biggest superhero franchise that is out right now on Netflix. That is not. It's not aligning with. Like it's not conforming to Marvel expectations.
But I also feel like Elliot Page fits in that same kind of like indie darling persona that Ezra Miller had at one time before he became who he is now.
Yeah, like Juno and Perks of Being a Wallflower are very much in the same wheelhouse.
Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Hate it.
Yeah, I know, right? It feels like the world is crashing in on itself, and we're going to get stuck between 2006 and 2012 again. I think that's when Juno came out in 2006. So I would like to know who if anybody in the chat said who they would have casted.
Somebody said Danny DeVito. Somebody said Tim Pool. Somebody said Brett. So we're getting some great recommendations.
Those are great.
Yeah,
I love this.
Good recommendations.
Chad Michael
Crowder.
Murray.
Yeah, Chad Michael Murray.
He's too old now.
I was going to recommend Amber Heard, but we haven't gotten
we
there
could get
yet.
Amber Heard as the Flash. That's perfect.
I was thinking Amber Heard as Harley Quinn or Harleen Quinzel in Joker 2 because
that would be like almost spot on.
Bleach
casting.
that woman's hair. I think she's unhinged enough that it would actually be good. She wouldn't even need to act.
They can just take lines from the trial.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
My dog stepped in a bee, Mr. J. That would be great. So there were some super chats there.
Irie sent us $4.20.
I wonder why.
Canadian dollars. Thank you, Maple Leaf. Saying I like you.
Oh, thanks. We like you too.
Thank you.
Bro Cody said you can use the Mickey Mouse gangster idea. I won't sue. Can't say the same about Disney though. If it reminds you of Disney, they can sue. Yeah. So
technically, I think the evidence that we can't use it now is like literally in this episode.
Yeah.
So.
Johnny Beck sent us a thumbs up, which
sticker.
He usually does.
Oh,
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on. I do think that they should do it, though. I think they should cast Elliot Page and just go with it.
Yeah, burn it all down.
All right, so I want to talk first in Podluck. We're in Podluck. We don't have a theme song. No Dane today.
Dun, dun, dun.
So it says, Star Wars Moses Ingram Reva lightsaber fails to deliver for Hasbro. So basically what this is they tried to crowdfund a lightsaber for Reva's character. And what I want to talk about here is how you know when something is organic and how you know when something is astroturfed, meaning that if Star Wars cannot produce a crowdfunding campaign that can fulfill this type of requirement, what hope do the rest of us have? And we have proof that there is hope down the line. So it says, it turns out that Star Wars fans are not all that interested in the Moses Ingram Reva lightsaber from Hasbro from the Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series, which really isn't a surprise, and they're right about that. That's not really a surprise. I don't think anybody was really all that surprised, considering nobody really liked the people who liked it because other people didn't like it. I don't
think that they liked Reva. I think they liked the idea that by celebrating Kenobi, like the series, and celebrating her objectively mediocre acting, they were winning social points. And the producers of the show definitely played into that by amplifying generally like astroturfed hate against Moses Ingram. I don't think that was.
They grabbed a few things. They're like, oh my gosh, there's so much hate for this actor.
It really wasn't even there, and they like amplified it and then made it even worse.
They needed something. They needed the clicks. They needed the attention. I never would have heard of this if it weren't for that. So I guess.
And the people who were going to be sycophants for anything Star Wars or anything Disney already were going to like it, no matter what it was.
So, and the people that hate it are like, I do believe that the people that liked it like it in spite of the people that don't like it, right? And you could say the same the other way around. I thought the character was boring and that she it's not the role she was meant to play. The emotional stuff she did at the end was 1,000 times better than her trying to be like.
Yeah, and I've heard good things about her acting in other roles.
Exactly. So
they just miscast.
Sometimes you just miscast. So, like I said,
but also the scripts was horrible. The budgeting for effects was horrible.
So bad.
So basically, they wanted it to do a lightsaber
it
based
set
on
up
the one
for failure. Even though like Disney has these things like basically falling into their lap that seem like naturally it would be a smash hit, and then they just they mess it up every time.
So it says Hasbro has a program where they crowdfund certain products under its HasLab brand that are considered on the higher end of toys and such. For example, I helped crowdfund the Hasbro Galactus figure, which looks pretty awesome and comes with all kinds of extras. Galactus was backed by over 30,000 fans and should be released sometime in the next few months. However, as seen below, Moses Ingram's Riva lightsaber couldn't even reach 5,000 backers, and it didn't even reach 30% of its goal, so that meant Star Wars fans just aren't that interested. This is, every day there was articles about how great this character was, and how much people, not about how great she was, but how like popular she was, right?
Yeah, it's
and
sort of like
the
manufactured fanfare for America Chavez.
Yes.
It is not real. There's an entire like infrastructure, it seems, to astroturfing fanfare and hype about characters that don't have an invested fan base.
So how do you know when something is invested upon? How do you know when something has actual interest from the public? Well, there is a YouTuber named Eric DeJuly who has been on Timcast IRL,
twice,
who just launched the Ripiverse, which is his answer to the comic book issues going on in the world right now.
For him.
And what I love about that is he's focusing on his solution to the problem. He's not just talking about what he doesn't like. He's making what he wants to make. That is a good thing. He made $1 million in 24 hours.
Yes, I saw that. That was impressive.
It's now like 1.2 million now in the first 2 days.
I would love to know the average amount of
it's probably
one
like
of the
$10.
donations,
Yeah,
because that would say a lot about whether or not it was AstroTurf.
14,664 purchasers.
So you have to divide that down.
So the thing about crowdfunding is you're not just buying one book, right? You're buying the add-ons, the stuff that comes with it. That's the whole beauty of the crowdfunding platform, is you're buying a prestige product,
you
right?
said 14,000 donators?
14,664 backers, purchasers.
That's about $68 a person.
So for $1,358,077.
Oh, it's more than that. Okay.
So how do you know?
Organic.
Thank you. How do you know when something is astroturf and when something isn't? When the fan engagement is natural and real? He built this website. Like, this is his. Like, he didn't use Indiegogo. He didn't use Kickstarter. He built the website out himself to launch ESOM #1. And people who have flocked to his channel, which is like 500,000 or more subscribers, are clearly showing that they care and that they want to support his product. I did not purchase, but I think I might actually just do it now. I bought the first Jawbreakers book from Zach when that came out, and I haven't done a bunch of the crowdfunding stuff. But I care because so much of what we talk about is it's me trying to discern what's astroturfed, what's real, and what isn't. We talk a lot about dead internet theory. We talk a lot about whether Twitter is real or not. How do you know when what people care about is actually real?
By memes.
And when people actually put their money where their mouth is.
So putting your money where your mouth is like the physical manifestation of a meme. It's something that you agree with. It's something you identify with. You see yourself in it and you want to see more of it. Put your money there. awesome. It's better than a meme. It's more involved. I would agree. I would argue that Twitter is not dead, that the internet is not dead, pretty much solely because of the existence of memes. And I don't believe it's a tiny percentage of people who do it. I think these are ideas floating around out there that just attach themselves to the image and people latch onto them, pass them on.
I recommend checking out the channel's Young Rippa59, but he does a podcast called For Canon's Sake. I tend to like his individual videos more than the long form podcast, but that's me in general. Like I like Tim's videos more than I watch the podcast to start with. I just like the format of the more organized structure. But it says basically it says getting his start as a rapper, July moved into cultural commentary in 2015. He had a really landmark video criticizing the Supergirl television show that went very, very viral at that time. And he's very no nonsense, and he's very, very.
He does not pull his punches.
He does not pull like
great.
If he's not a guy I would want criticizing me. I should say, you know what I mean? Like if you're getting critiqued by him, you're getting the
you've done something wrong,
or you're getting you're not getting a sugar-coated version of it, which I appreciate.
Exactly.
And 2015 was definitely the time on YouTube to make videos like that.
Yep. But then because like we talked about the internet being astroturfed and the fact that they don't want these things to succeed, the comic book subreddit bans the Rippaverse comic for supporting comics from hate groups. I had to give Mary kind of a crash course into what Comicsgate was, and Comicsgate being kind of an offshoot of what Gamergate was prior to that. It goes back to the concept of customer service and them hating the fact that all of the creators on YouTube who make comics tended to just talk down to the fans or block them.
I would think there would be a considerable amount of overlap between the fan bases of comics and games. So I was surprised I didn't hear about the Comicsgate.
There was Zach from Comics Matter, formerly Diversity in Comics, obviously Young Rippa59, Ethan Van Sciver, Captain Cummings in the early days. There's that Umbrella
guy. Are there
guy.
Equivalent antagonists, like Anita Sarkeesian for that industry?
Pretty
Who
much
is that?
Yeah.
Pretty much all of the mainstream press and Rich Johnston at Bleeding Cool are
AV
all kind
Club,
of
apparently.
are all critics of it. I don't as somebody who didn't like I said, I backed his Zach's first Jawbreakers book, but didn't like I invested heavily in watching it unfold, kind of like as like a watching a slow motion car wreck as the industry like lost business more and more every year. But I just love to see, like, in a world where Star Wars can't even fulfill a crowdfunding campaign, I love the idea that somebody on his own was able to spend a lot of money. He's been building that site out and getting this ready for a long time. And you can do that if you have a platform that you've built, a strong vision, and a willingness to follow through on what you're doing. It just takes a lot of work. And if you're going to stand up to these big corporations, which I said, most of our job is discerning what's real and what isn't amongst these companies. What's astroturfed? What isn't? What do people actually care about? What don't they care about? How often is that a conversation of what we talk about here? Seeing a concrete financial way of seeing what was actually gained from this is really encouraging to me.
And not even just in terms of your organic support, but you've only succeeded if people feel strongly about what you're doing, both negative and positive.
True. Yeah.
So we saw that, like, the hate for Moses Ingram was astroturfed and the fanfare was astroturfed. Yeah. And in this case, there's a strong support for Rippaverse, and then the hate for it is very, very real. Yep. And it's very strong. And like this tweet said, they're terrified of what you're creating. Yeah. Which is, like, insane to think about. It's literally just a comic, but if you've made people feel that strongly about what you created, I think you're doing something right. And he said, we don't need the folks that wish to protect the old guard.
What he
can't stop us, and we're going to win.
Yeah.
What he talks about a lot is that the legitimacy that you give these franchises, like Star Wars, like DC, like Marvel, you provide them the legitimacy by just pretending like their opinion matters more than yours does. It doesn't. So what we do here is even like, it's like, is what Tim does any less legitimate than CNN? No, it's not.
Absolutely
it's more
not.
legitimate.
Absolutely not.
And you give the legitimacy to these companies by allowing their opinions to sway how you behave by pretending like what they say matters to you.
And I don't know, I'm sure you guys, neither of you guys and none of your audience have read Terry Pratchett. He was a British author. He talks about something called an invisible hammer, where it turns out that if you stand up for your own rights and you take things into your own hands, a lot of the time some of these cultural norms, these expectations that, oh my gosh, CNN's going to blow you out of the water, are totally misplaced. It doesn't happen at all. So if you take that step, you'll find out. And this is what Andrew Breitbart's talking about when he says, you need to be brave. You need to go through the fire. And you need to show other people that it can be done. Because once you do it, other people are going to realize it can be done.
Well, even look at CNN Plus had like what? It collapsed in 3 weeks.
A lot of what
amazing.
CNN or similar conglomerates rely on is just projecting the idea that they are influential, when in reality something independently owned, like an independent media company like this one, has considerably like close to equal or more influence over real people and their opinions.
Especially when you look at how many people watch every night. Like consistently every night and stick by it.
Yeah, it's encouraging.
And not just that, but engagement is high. Like it's one thing to watch at an airport in passing. It's another thing to be engaged in what you're watching.
Not in any airports.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's one thing to watch something passively in an airport and just look at it as something that's on, and engage with something like they're doing with this or like they do with IRL. That's a whole different approach, and it's far more... I think it's far more influential, and I think it's going to have a far longer lasting impact than people perceive it to.
Yes, because you're at the forefront of people's minds. People will look at the clock and be like, oh my gosh, it's 3, I'm going to watch Pop Culture Crisis, or it's 8, I'm going to watch, Timcast IRL. That's where you want to be. That way people aren't just passively absorbing it, although that has power too. CNN has definitely found, but this is way more.
Another reason why it bothered me that YouTube spent so much money astroturfing celebrities when their independent creators always get more engagement than nobody cares about Will Smith on YouTube. They care about Will Smith at the movie theater.
Not on YouTube.
But they don't care about Will Smith on YouTube. At least I don't care.
Right?
Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like
YouTube Rewind.
Would I care about PewDiePie in a movie theater? Probably not.
Yeah.
I don't. Actually, doesn't sound that interesting to me.
Different platform.
But that's what I'm saying. It's different platforms provide you with a different reason to watch different people, and they want the one size fits all approach, and we don't have that anymore, and you can't embrace that.
Yeah.
So I think that this is extremely awesome to see this. And a lot of these other creators, I know Yellow Flash is going to be releasing his own comic as well.
Oh, cool.
A lot of them, listen, I don't, I follow that part of the industry passively, and I don't talk about comics extensively on here. I just thought it was hilarious that freaking Star Wars, which sold for $4 billion to Disney, could not crowdfund a lightsaber.
Yeah, there are some things that you just can't fake, which sounds ridiculous in this day and age because of like so much of our news and what we watch being fake, but it's true.
This makes me think of Michael Bloomberg throwing money at the presidential race.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Dude, it was insane. I remember his videos used to come across Timcast videos, and we were just like, heck yeah, bring it in. We're not going to vote for you. We're going to talk trash about you on every video, but give us the money. And it didn't work. And I found that to be very encouraging. I was like, it doesn't matter how much money you throw at this. It's not going to work. Yep. Sorry.
Can you buy your way into
You can't.
Well, even like, forgive me for, again, I guess not political, but like Donald Trump got most of his donations from small donations from a larger amount of people, right?
Yeah, okay. Not astroturfed.
The funny thing here is like the lightsaber actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
like
looks interesting.
I would actually like. I mean, I wouldn't buy it because I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but maybe Andrew would like.
I mean, they should make it so that when you light up the lightsaber, it loads like a progress bar very slowly, just like they did in the show. Yep.
So
that would be perfect.
It just goes to prove that the internet is kind of helping us discern what's real and what isn't. If you just have a way of gauging
somewhat like an optimistic take on it.
There's some super chats there.
Let's see. Hobbit said, all the fans that didn't fund this saber, racists.
Yeah, probably.
Which is funny too, because somebody asked, they said, is that what it is with Riva versus Eric July? I was like, no, because they're both African Americans.
That's correct.
And he is just a far more engaging and a far more talented. Not that she's not talented, but that the work she was in was not talented.
He brought his own chair. He's doing his own thing.
And then
Hobbit can only do so much with the Kenobi script.
Yep.
Yeah, to be fair.
Ereftas of Stet said the Flash is my favorite superhero and I'm upset.
See,
Brett.
Dane is always like, nobody cares about the Flash. I'm like, that's
No,
not
you
true.
say that too.
No, I do not say that. Dane says that.
Really?
People love the Flash.
Do they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. People love the
Some
Flash.
people.
Wally West.
I don't think they would be happy to see Elliot Page as the Flash.
I'm like, okay, I'm like half kidding when I say that I think it's a good idea. Like, I just think I was like, we're literally in a period now. I'm like, just hire somebody that's not going to be creepy with kids.
A very low bar. Very
Like,
low.
don't have like not creepy with kids, and not leaving guns out in his house, and you're fine. Okay.
Hobbit also proposed Seamus Shimcast.
As
the Flash.
Would that work?
That'd be good. That'd be great.
Is he fast?
He's pretty fast. He's like,
Have you chased him before? Do you know? I don't
he's a
know.
little twitchy. It's great.
He
I
is
love
kinda
it.
twitchy.
Yeah.
have him running to a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
That'd be so good. Let's bring him back. We'll do that.
And he said the stupid Inquisitor helicopter blades suck.
Oh my gosh. I don't know anything about that.
They should have done it on the a whole series on just the Grand Inquisitor.
There you go.
That guy looked way cooler.
There you go.
The special effects in Kenobi were like just absolutely pathetic. I'll say that much.
The gate.
Yeah,
The gate
like
that you could just walk around.
I can't. Was that I almost thought that was like a joke,
I know, right?
but it wasn't. They really just like overlooked that completely.
Oh my gosh.
Gold Mecro said that's because Disney ruined the IP.
They did. They absolutely did, and I feel bad for all the big Star Wars fans to watch it get ruined like that.
And it's weird because they had it just served to them on a silver platter.
Yep, they could have made infinitely more money if they had just stuck with it and done a better job. But
George Lucas literally gave
it to
them the idea of what he wanted, and they were like,
Nope.
no, we can think of something better.
We're not doing that.
Right.
All right. So also before we go, I want to mention that Regé-Jean Page is no longer in the lead of the run up to be cast as the next James Bond. And
Good.
you don't think so? I think he's like in that first picture there. He could play James Bond.
Get it? Yeah.
I think Idris Elba is too old. I think Henry Cavill is kind of like, I don't like Henry Cavill. Like, as long as they don't give him that haircut. Look at his haircut in that photo. It's oh god.
Oh my gosh.
It does not suit
hate
him.
that.
Doesn't do him any favors.
That is like whoever did that hates him. Like whoever gave him that haircut for that movie just hates his guts.
Well, that picture of James looks like somebody who like orders an Impossible Whopper.
Yeah, it does.
I
That's
hate it.
exactly
Oh
what
my
it looks
God.
like. I'm not a huge fan.
So Henry Cavill is 3-1 odds. Well, Regé-Jean Page is 7-2, and Tom Hardy is tied with Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel Ejiofor is getting up there in age too, but he'd be an interesting choice as well.
What would you say is too old or too young to be James Bond?
Well, like I think Idris Elba's in his mid-50s, and
That's a little
the idea
old.
is that when you play James Bond, you're going to play for multiple movies.
Yeah.
And if you're already in your mid-50s and it takes 3 years between
True,
movies, and
true.
I don't want geriatric James Bond chasing after. Actually, if they
as
gave
funny as
that'd
that
be
would
great.
be,
if they gave him like a trick walker with like rockets on it, like he has on the Aston Martin, that'd be kind of cool. I'd actually
That'd be
I'd watch
awesome.
that. But like, no, I don't want that. I don't want old person James Bond.
that's very ageist of you, Brad.
I agree.
Is that?
That's
That's
really
am I bad?
discriminatory.
Am I a bad
Ageism,
person now?
That makes you very
Oop.
bad.
Am I bad?
Sorry.
Am I getting
You're
canceled?
Canceled.
Oh,
Goodbye.
no. Oh,
It's
no.
over.
So all I'm saying is that Regé-Jean Page is younger, and Henry Cavill's not getting up there, but Henry Cavill might actually be too big. Like he's actually
Physically
too
too
physically
large.
too muscular
Possibly.
to play. He'd have to slim down.
He looks far too American. He looks like
He's not though.
I'm making so many like ridiculous comparisons. He looks like he would teach like strip mall karate.
Oh my gosh. Does he?
Master.
That's just how I feel. I'm
Master
just telling you how I
Cavill.
feel.
Like that was always one of those funny things.
a
Like
sensei.
when they would complain
Sensei
about like
Henry.
having like when they changed Snake Eyes to be like an Asian actor in the new Snake Eyes movie, not realizing that Snake Eyes in the original G.I. Joe was a white person. Like I was like, you don't think that there haven't been people like doing karate in America for like 70 years at like your local? Every town has a karate dojo. So Tom Hardy, I don't think Tom Hardy would be good in that role, but Chiwetel Ejiofor might be kind of interesting. So before we go, I want to ask you one or the other. What's worse, giving your 3-year-old a pacifier or giving your 4-year-old $50,000
Ooh. Tough question.
in cash?
Tough
In
question.
cash.
In ca-
I think it would probably be worse to give them the $50,000 in cash because your kid is gonna slobber all over
$50,000 in cash. I agree. You're probably right.
This was just funny. It says Jessica Simpson got called out because her 3-year-old was seen with a pacifier in her mouth on vacation.
I mean, that is old for a pacifier.
It is.
But like,
Yeah,
literally,
that's not
who
good for their
cares?
teeth.
Literally, who cares?
Really, no one's concerned about hers.
But this photo I thought was hilarious of Cardi B and Offset's child having $50,000 in cash.
Oh my God.
It's very weird that like there's still this
Thank you.
this flex culture with rappers. You know?
They love
that
it.
they're gonna impose on their toddler.
They talk like she went out to like Disney World in like a $2,000 Balenciaga.
Like, are you gonna give your toddler gold teeth now too?
They should do that. So I don't know which one is. It just seems weird to me. But also, before we go, they are making an Amy Winehouse movie. Does that interest anyone?
Interesting.
I, again, am tired of the biopics a little bit because
it's always women. It's always women.
It's like, they just made an Elvis one.
That okay. But okay, yeah, she's not a criminal either. So like it's female. It's
true.
So it says Amy Winehouse biopic back to black coming from 50 Shades of Grey director Sam Taylor Johnson. The only reason I bring this up is that I think this
you have the perfect cast.
I do. It's Tanya Raymond is who they should be casting. She looks like just like her.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she can sing. So that's.
I don't know much about Amy Winehouse. That might be interesting.
So there, we were going to cover that story where what's his name from How I Met Your Mother, like Neil Patrick Harris, like had the Amy Winehouse cake. The really poor taste Amy Winehouse cake after she passed away.
I think that Lady Gaga could also do this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe so. Yeah.
I would be.
It's almost too
between
perfect.
Those two.
It's almost like too perfect to casting. They're like, we can't do that.
It's too obvious.
It makes too much sense.
Yeah.
So I just thought every time I see a picture of Amy Winehouse, I think of Tanya Raymond because she's an actress I've seen in a bunch of stuff and I know she sings. So I just thought that would be very interesting. We have super chats before we go.
We do.
Jonathan Harris said, as a kid, if I had $50,000 in cash, that would have been McDonald's money.
Yep.
That is
how much McDonald's do you have to buy?
All the toys. All the toys.
Franchise.
My mom collected the McDonald's toys.
Oh, interesting.
Back when they were actually good.
Yeah. Long time ago.
Ugh.
There's one more above
Make
there.
punk rock great again, too. Interesting name.
100%.
Said Ripiverse is taking off. Brendan Urie is banned on Twitter. He is.
Is he?
No. We talked about Brendan Urie yesterday.
We just released a new song on the Disseminators page called Green Day is Dookie. I think we're making a splash. Red Wave
That's
coming.
Great.
That's an amazing song name.
That's
that
great
is an amazing song name.
I love it. Good for them. They're moving out of the country.
And then
Bad App said hi Bree, hi Ellen.
I
don't understand.
Am I Bree and you're Ellen?
Possibly.
I'm confused.
We're gonna roll with it. Thank you for your $2.
Thank you though.
Your cryptic message is well received.
Sometimes we get those. Like we have to literally discern what's being
so
said
many.
in it.
And Tim's like, I don't know what this person's saying.
And then you feel like bad. You're like, I have no idea.
Thank you for your money.
All right. Thank you so much for coming today, Leah.
Thank you very much for having me, Brett. You know I love hanging out with you guys on Wednesdays. Y'all can follow me on Timcast IRL tonight and every weeknight at 8 p.m. or at sourpatchlids.me.
And who's the guest tonight?
The guest tonight is Kurt Schlichter.
Does that sound familiar?
He just wrote a book.
There's an inside joke here where every night I ask Lydia who the guest is, and every night she tells me.
Like,
and every night I say I have no idea who that is.
Who is that?
It's an ongoing thing, guys.
It's a trend.
Mary, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and WeChat at Closer Kitty. And whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them there.
Anything coming out soon?
There is. I'm writing about LimeWire because I can't move on.
Articles about Kazaa coming next. Who knows? Or Napster.
Zanga, yeah.
Perfect. Guys, you can follow me on Instagram at Brett Dasovic for the show. We are here Monday through Friday on youtube.com, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are on social media. We're on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisis pod. If you'd like to listen to the show rather than watch it, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Pandora, and all that stuff. We got a brand new episode coming tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys. Bye.
Bye.